Although I did make my first Vine. I
Yeah,
think it's pretty good.
I saw yours. Did you see mine?
No, I didn't.
I showed
Oh,
him.
maybe.
I showed my E3 battle station.
Was it good?
No,
Okay. Are we live right now?
we're recording.
We are?
Yeah.
Shit.
Hello. Can
Hello.
you hear me? I bet. I bet you can now. I'm coming in loud and clear for a very important, very special, very urgent episode of the Human Instrumentality podcast.
We're live from the E3 show floor right now.
We're on the show floor right now. This microphone's noise canceling capabilities are so powerful you can't even hear it.
Reggie is right here next to me.
He's telling me to play the game. I'm going to in a minute, but let's talk for a while. I'm your host, as always, HunterJawa, and I'm joined by my good friend Vanlliafish.
AKA uh Ouya.
So the past couple days has been the bulk of the E3 event, and we've watched all the press conferences. We've evaluated all the animated GIFs, and we're here to break it all down and throw down some good old discussion. So I guess I think the structure of this will be we'll run through all the press conferences, talk about our perspective on each. We'll talk about how we think the two new consoles measure up to each other, stuff like that, and then we'll give our final report card, which publishers pay attention. This is important.
You don't understand, like, the whole this decision here at the end is going to decide so much sales wise
Yeah,
because our influence is so like vast.
like that. Like they say that this E3 was going to be very important to decide who's going to do better this holiday season, and maybe that's true. But this podcast will determine at least 2 million in sales alone.
That's like a rough low estimate.
If I poo poo something, a particular maybe one particular console, that they might want to give up. But yeah, speaking of one particular console, let's just go right into the first conference. At the beginning of the day on Monday, Microsoft had the first big press conference in which they showed a large amount of software for their new platform, the Xbox One.
Yeah, they did.
So we talked about the initial reveal event a couple weeks ago, in which they showed the box for the first time and then proceeded to have an hour of some good old television related content and a lot of stuff that wasn't really appealing to core gamers who were probably the majority of
Well,
people watching the event.
timeout. Dogs. Everyone likes dogs.
There was dogs. Everyone loves dogs. So at the end of that, after some PR debacle about DRM and used games, which we'll get into, they promised E3 is going to be the games and nothing else. And people were like, "Yeah, okay," but you know
Yeah,
what?
they did it.
They did it. That is exactly what they did. Nothing more, nothing less. They showed the games. They showed all the games, and there was a lot of them. Uh, I think that Microsoft, out of anybody, I mean, especially compared to their direct competitor Sony, showed a lot of exclusive content. So I think a lot of people were struggling to justify purchasing an Xbox One prior to this because of some of the controversy. But if we said if they can show a good lineup of software, people might want to jump over just to get all those exclusives. And I think they came close to doing the best they could do with this show.
Yeah.
So they started off with a game that is not an exclusive, but they showed Metal Gear Solid 5 in an extended kind of gameplay trailer for the first time. I thought it looked really, really awesome.
Um, right now, currently, probably my game of the show for me.
Yeah, I mean, like, I am not a Metal Gear Solid fan in any capacity. I think the series looks kind of cool in general, and someday I'll probably get in on it. But for now, I'm an outsider, and just watching this trailer, the Fox engine is no joke, and it
Yeah, it
looks
looks
like
real nice.
the environments in this game are like semi photorealistic looking, and the open world aspect of the game seems really awesome.
What's awesome is just judging by the trailer, it came across as like very Red Dead Redemption esque. And personally, myself, big fan of that game. I really
Yeah.
like that game.
Well, it was in this kind of like arid desert setting, which I think was in the Middle East.
Hmm.
But it looked even better than Red Dead Redemption. It looked amazing, and it looked like something you would see in a photo of that kind of
Yeah,
place. So
and everything it showed was real interesting too. Like everything you'd be able to do, and the whole idea of it being like a vast open world. Well, three was open, like you could explore it, but it was still you're sectioned off into some small parts, and then there's always a loading screen to get into the next one. So this is like huge for the series.
yeah, and another thing I was thinking about was almost every stealth game that comes out nowadays. In their marketing, they'll say you can choose how you approach this situation. You can choose any way you want to infiltrate X building. But none of those games are open world. They're completely linear. And not many stealth games, and none that I can think of at all, actually are truly open world.
Yeah,
So I think the fact that this game is truly open world really offers you the ability to go about infiltrating or sneaking however you want.
yeah,
Um, is there anything else about Metal Gear Solid 5?
yeah. For me, I thought the trailer was awesome. The when like the music kicks in towards like the halfway point, I was blown away by that. And then they just start flashing the characters in the game, and a lot of them are like you could recognize them from other games and stuff like that. Also, hot off the presses, the voice and actor for Ocelot, Troy Baker.
Yeah, for the first of many Troy Baker spottings at this E3.
Is it the year of the horse or the year of Troy Baker?
It is the year of Troy Baker. I believe there were more Troy Baker spottings than horses or giraffes.
Oh yeah, was
Um,
Troy Baker wearing a bow tie though?
but yeah, I think we'll make note of future Troy Baker spottings if we remember. But it's probably like every other game. So if we don't say Troy Baker's in this, you can probably assume he is.
Yeah, he's somewhere. But yeah, and they just put out another really long trailer for it, and that was fantastic too. So right now, that's that's like what I've enjoyed the most from E3 this
Yeah.
year.
Okay, so they went on to show a trailer for Dark Souls 2, which is a 360 game, actually, so we don't need to spend too much time on it. And I think we already talked about it in a previous episode, actually, but it still looks cool. Uh,
Yeah, cool.
it's
But
good.
hey, I'm not gonna like loft this up to be like the next big thing because I love Dark Souls, but they could funk it up.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest demo, or maybe the most impressive, in terms of like showing the power of this new console, would be the first one they showed on stage, Rise, Son of Rome. Uh, this is one of the exclusives they were talking about at their previous event, and we were joking that it was announced as a Kinect game and wasn't worth looking at. But it's back now, and it is no longer a Kinect game, so it seems like they're taking it a little bit more seriously. And it's a kind of Roman war game.
Yeah, I guess so.
I keep saying you're playing as a gladiator, but that's not correct.
No, it's you're playing as like
A legionnaire, yeah.
legionnaire
Uh,
captain.
it seems like there's some sword fighting that looks a little bit like your increasingly common Arkham Asylum esque combat, which I'm cool with. I like swords. I like Arkham Asylum. So, um, the graphics were probably the best I've seen demonstrated as a console game.
Yeah.
This is a Crytek game,
Well,
the
yeah, makes
the
sense.
Crisis people, so it does make sense. But yeah, just looking at this demo in motion, and I know afterwards you often hear that these demos are being run on a PC or something, and they're not going to look that good on the actual console. But if this looks as good as it did on stage on your TV, um, that would be really, really impressive.
Oh, another funny thing is I just read about how there was someone on the show floor demoing some Xbox One game, and it crashed to the Windows 7 desktop.
Well, as you know, the Xbox One has 3 separate operating systems, so it might just be random which one you land on when a game crashes.
I hope mine lands on Gentoo.
That's not one of them.
But for me, the trailer visually was like fantastic. It looked great, and generally, I'm a big fan of like anything to do with like ancient Rome. But the gameplay to me looked like quick time events, and while like the combat looked neat, like visually, I don't know how fun it would be to play. And some of the coolest things were that happened in the demo was you pointing at like something and then the rest of yours like soldiers do it. So now they didn't show they showed probably what 5 minutes of gameplay, so I'm not gonna
Probably a little
judge
less
the
than
whole
that.
game on that. But right now, for me, that didn't do it for me.
It looks really, really simple.
Yeah,
Like you fight swords, you stab dudes, and you do your phalanx formation. You block some arrows.
actually, that's not a phalanx. That's a testudo.
Thank you. People have been calling it phalanx all week, so finally,
No, a
finally we can correct
phalanx
them.
a phalanx is when you interlock shields and you have long spears. The first line, they're straight out and then they arc up. A testudo, Latin for tortoise. It's when you put your shields over top to guard from arrows. I know that.
Hey, if you're studying for exams right now, you're welcome. That's for free.
Like I
Um,
said, I like Roman, ancient Rome.
yeah, so maybe this game is for you, but it looks very simple, kind of like a more of a tech demo type thing, which you see a
Yeah,
lot in launch lineups. But some of those games are genuinely pretty charming and simple, fun stuff. So I'm gonna say Rise definitely impressed me visually, and I'm interested to see what the rest of the game looks like. Um, After that, they went on to show Insomniac's new game, Sunset Overdrive, and this was just a CG trailer, so there was no actual gameplay shown. But it's funny when I was watching it, the first thing I thought of was it looks like they took all the color and personality and energy from the original version of Fuse, which was called
yeah.
Overstrike, and
I was just gonna say that.
injected it into this game. At the expense of Fuse, which is
Yeah.
a brown cover shooter.
Well, what might happen is later on in this game's life cycle, the same thing might happen.
Yeah, they probably have yet to focus test it, so we're not seeing the final version here. There might be a lot more brown when this comes out. But then the title is Sunset Overdrive, so you do expect some color.
Yeah. Well,
It looks like I don't know. It's hard to say what it is. I think there's zombies in it, and it looks
of
like
course.
there's yeah, and it looks like there's a focus on like free running and platforming, which in the trailer looked very natural and fun. But in the game, who knows? But I'm definitely interested to see what it's like, if it's
Yeah.
what kind of game it is, and they definitely caught my attention with it. And I believe this is an exclusive to the Xbox One. So
One thing I did find funny is about it. There was like a press release about the game, and it was something about how it's going to be like ever updating, like to like suit like the player base. Like certain, they'll catch on to like trends and stuff, and it'll update to that. But also, it'll update itself on popular meme culture. So
through the power of the cloud,
yeah, the memes brought to you by the cloud.
we've actually been hearing a lot about the cloud this week.
Yeah, and
Uh,
I
it
don't use
sounds
the cloud
like
for anything.
well, it sounds like it kind of interesting for these Xbox One games in particular. The Xbox One is required to be online, but and we'll talk about this with the next game too. Forza 5.
Uh,
They don't only use the cloud for storage and data retrieval, but also to offload uh, processing from your console, which increases the ability of the console to handle other tasks. So, you know, in Forza 5, for instance, they're saying that the AI system in the game is being completely computed by servers completely remote from your console, and your console is focusing on other things. So that it makes the experience overall more powerful without
mm,
the console needing to be more expensive, I guess.
yeah,
And I think that's probably the number one benefit you'll see to their online requirements. Like, if there's one thing that if there's one good thing or one reason you'd want to buy into this, it would be because this kind of cool system is in place that can make the console more powerful by implementing computing power from servers that are remote from your system.
Hmm. Also, Drivatars.
Yeah, also Drivatars. Apparently, Forza 5 is going to be the end of AI, so uh, we don't have to hear people bragging
It
about
was
their
it was
dynamic
stupid
AI.
anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. I, I'm dubious about how this stuff will actually work when these
Yeah.
games come out, but it sounds interesting, and I think they should have, gone ahead and said like, "Hey, this is why we have this DRM," or "This is how you're benefiting," because they really didn't.
No, they
They
just
just showed
said,
games.
hey, it's the cloud.
Uh, but yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about Forza 5 other than the graphics look amazing and you can drive in it. I don't. I'm not. I'm really
This is where I jumped in to the conference because I was sleeping, and I
okay.
woke up, and the first thing I was greeted to was a who I'm guessing the developer at Turn 10, and he was talking about the car on stage
Oh yeah,
like it was a woman.
and the music sounded like a softcore porn.
Yeah, it was
That
pretty
that was
weird.
the most sensual E3 demo I've ever experienced.
I'll tell you what though, Forza 5 still gets my thumbs up if we still get dope ass anime skins on your cars
Okay.
like all the other Forza games. Fantastic.
So yeah, I'm really not an aficionado on racing games, so I apologize that I can't provide much perspective on the many that were shown at E3. But they all look kind of cool to me, and the graphics in these games seem really impressive nowadays. So
Yeah.
there's that.
Hey, if you like
Uh,
cars, it's your year.
the next game they showed was Quantum Break, which is another exclusive to Xbox One, and the next game from uh, the creators of Alan Wake. Um, it seems cool, like just visually. The demo had the player walking through a room where time had frozen, and brushing aside shards of glass from a broken window that were floating in the air, which I thought was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But the demo was only like half a minute long, and afterwards we learned that this is kind of part of Microsoft's like television
Yeah, it's like
um,
part TV show, right?
initiative. The word is they've included an entire season, they say, worth of television into the game, which takes the place of traditional cutscenes. So
That's taken like Metal Gear Solid 4 to like a whole new level.
yeah, but this is all live action. This isn't just like long cutscenes. This is live action segments, and apparently your choices in the game will uh, determine what segments of TV you watch.
Huh.
So you'll see the show play out differently than other players depending on what you do. Is apparently how it works. So this is not like a network television show. All the TV is on the disc, but it's part show, part game. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, kind of. And is this going to be a launch title?
I don't know.
I probably not if
I'm gonna
they
say
have to.
no. Yeah. I actually they're really both Microsoft and Sony are really hush hush on what is and what isn't a launch title, and I guess they want to announce the whole lineup at once or something.
Yeah.
So we'll probably know more about that in the coming months. But yeah, I really don't know for sure about a lot of this stuff. What is and what isn't a launch title.
Hmm.
Um, they also showed a demo for a game called Project Spark, which looks like that game maker they had showed for the Xbox 360 called Kudo, I believe.
It looks like their answer to like Little Big Planet.
Yeah, sort of. But it's cool. It looks cool. Like you can easily program behaviors and that
Hmm.
sort of thing into objects, and you can apparently use voice commands to completely alter the experience or the world at any time. Which, if that works properly, would be cool. But I have my doubts.
And do you think that was the goofiest demo of
Uh,
E3?
well, the demoer himself could not sound less enthusiastic about what was happening. Uh, but I don't know. It was a silly game. I think it wanted to be silly. He made a rock jump up and down and said it was his rock buddy,
Yeah.
which I think is cute. But yeah, that's a little silly. I don't know. The game looks interesting, and I think it's a good example of how this is one of the E3s that stands out to me because Microsoft in particular tends to go up on stage and show dumb Connect shit and big shoot bang first person shooter demos.
Yeah.
And this conference had a much wider range of games than I think anybody else this
Yeah.
year. First of all,
Really, really, the only BS was I think they talked about smart glass for maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah, the smart glass seems dumb to me. I'm just gonna. This is my official stance on smart glass. It seems dumb. I'm not gonna really talk too much about the integration into other games, but I don't think it'll catch on, and I think we're gonna stop hearing about it very quickly.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, the range of games they showed was quite diverse, and there was no genuinely dumb Connect shit. I mean, even Project Spark looks interesting and like something that I would want to see more of. So, thumbs up to Microsoft on that for
Yeah,
sure.
probably the two things that I liked most from the conference, but we didn't really get to see any of, was the new sweary game D4, was it?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
'Cause I really like Deadly Premonition.
I have
It's a
not I
it's
have
a
not played
very
Deadly. Oh sorry,
very 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 good bad game.
I have not played Deadly Premonition, but I have seen some cutscenes and gameplay of that game, and it seems super hokey and kind of hilarious.
Yeah,
So,
it's the best bad game I've ever played. So
so it seems like this new Swear game is going to be exclusive to Xbox One.
yeah, it is.
So that I mean that's a cult type thing, but that seems like a good get. I don't know.
Yeah, well, hey, Deadly Premonition was an Xbox exclusive and it's on
That's
PS3 now.
you're right. You're right. I think Microsoft is paying a lot of money to get these people to compensate for not putting their game on the PlayStation 4. But it'll be interesting to see how long they stay off the PS4, or
Yeah,
if they're stuck off of it. But I'm sure that eventually these exclusives will, if they're interested in making that money, will jump ships.
and the other game that really intrigued me, but they only showed about 30 seconds of it, was the game Below,
Oh yeah.
and
So
and they actually said roguelike at the Microsoft conference.
yeah, that's a capybara game. So uh, I suppose that counts as an indie uh,
Yeah,
partnership. And I actually don't know if that game is exclusive. I'm gonna say it probably isn't, but it
yeah,
looks cool. And the art style reminds me of another capybara game, Sword and Sorcery,
yeah.
which is an I thought was a pretty cool game. So I'm interested to see more of that for sure. And I'm taking more of a liking to the roguelike type structuring games now that I've played through like the Binding of Isaac and stuff like that.
Did you play FTL?
No, but I will
Play that.
someday. Yeah,
Play that.
it sounds like a good time. We'll
Now,
just
what was the other indie game? They mentioned Minecraft.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about this when it gets to Sony. But it was funny to see, we've been hearing so much about Microsoft having these really poor relationships with indie developers, and of course they get up on stage and say the Xbox One's going to have all these huge partnerships, and we're really supporting indie game developers. And here's proof: we're porting Minecraft, our best-selling Xbox Live Arcade game, onto the Xbox One.
Hey, bigger worlds.
And you know what? It makes sense that they would do it because that's free money, and why not make it? But after they showed Minecraft, that was the end of anything indie related at the conference.
Yeah. All right. Do you think there are people that are going to be stupid enough to have already paid for the PC version at full price, probably the Xbox 360 version, and then we'll buy that version on Xbox One?
I don't know if it's stupid. I mean, if you want to play with your friends on the platform, which was I think that's why people double dipped with the Xbox version.
Yeah.
They'll do it again, and it'll probably be what $20 again. So
Yeah, probably.
not a huge price point, but I'm not really a huge Minecraft fan, but
No.
the fans of that game are super passionate, and I think if they want to play with their friends on X platform, they'll do it. So
I'm kind of glad I'm done with that game.
yeah, I'll just hit on the three remaining big points. They have Microsoft has opened a new internal studio called Black Tusk, which is a big deal for them because they really don't put out many games under the Microsoft label anymore, besides like Forza and Halo, I guess.
Yeah. No, well, is 343 is probably Microsoft Game Studios.
Yes, they are. So this new game does not have a title, but they showed a CG trailer of it, and there's a man in a building. It's dark, and he has a gun.
Hey, I like that.
These guys are not kidding around. This is a triple A title. Do not refer to it as anything less. Um,
I
that's
bet.
all.
Hey, I'm getting a good picture of what the cover art's going to look like.
There will be a man. It may be dark, but he will have a gun.
Black Tusk, baby.
Black Tusk. Big things from Black Tusk. There was a short trailer for the new Halo game, which was kind of a bait and switch. They showed a mysterious cloaked figure who, after the cloak was blown off, oh, it's Master Chief.
Why was he wearing a cloak?
It was funny because, everyone was like, whoa, the cloak flies off and it's Master Chief. What a great reveal. Why was Master Chief wearing a cloak? I don't know. I'm not an expert on Halo lore. The Spartan armor is the most advanced protective armor ever invented, correct?
Probably.
So if you wore that in a sandstorm, you'd probably feel okay.
I mean, yeah. Well,
I guess.
I think in Halo 2, what is he jumped out of like a ship in 0Gs, and he's done worse. That's all I'm gonna say.
So the answer must be that for some reason Master Chief wants to protect his identity, but only when it services him to not look cool.
Hey, going back to this is a grab here, but going back to people in armor who look cool in cloaks, the old Star Wars Clone Wars animated series.
Oh yeah.
When Obi-Wan was disguised as a clone trooper, and like for the back half of that series, he had the clone armor, but he had that dope like Jedi cloak. That was pimp.
Okay, all right, you've made your case. Halo 5, or they're not even calling it Halo 5.
No.
The next Halo game is a thing. Surprise. Back at E3 last year, they announced that the next 3 Halo games, starting with 4, are going to be on the Xbox 360.
Wow, so they got to squeeze those in.
I'm interested to see if they can keep their word on that. But
maybe this one will. Maybe these next 2, or maybe this one will just be Xbox only. But the last one has to be both.
No, I'm not saying that it's not going to be on the Xbox One. I'm saying that I'm interested to see. It is 100% on the Xbox One. I'm interested to see if they make a 360 version as well and keep their word.
Hey, that's like right now. I'd have to say that's like one of their biggest draws to the new system, Halo. You think?
Yeah. Well, that's gonna bring over a lot of fans, I bet. Yeah. Halo will probably be cool. I don't know. And
doesn't do it for me.
The last game they showed was a console exclusive, although not
really.
It is going to be on PC, but Sony ain't getting that shit. Is that Respawn's very first game, Titanfall. And usually when I see these first-person shooter demos, my brain kind of turns off a little bit, and I tend not to care.
Yeah,
but this
demo, one looked pretty cool.
It looks cool to me, and I really like mechs, so I have a little bit of a bias. But I like the fact that everybody has a jetpack, and you can bounce off walls, and like do parkour and stuff. So if you can combine like some Mirror's Edge-esque traversal mechs.
Also you have to get mech combat right.
Yeah, that's true. And you know what? Based on what they've shown, I can't say either way on that, but it looks cool.
Yeah.
There's a shot of a mech reaching into another mech, ripping the pilot out and tossing him. And I wanted to clap when that happened. So it seems like the mechs are pretty cool. In this game, every player has a mech that they can call in at whenever they want, and the Titan will fall from the sky, and you get in it.
Yeah, what I really liked was like during the whole match, like the skybox, like with like ships coming down and stuff. I thought that looked really cool. But sticks very close to its Call of Duty roots, though.
Yeah, I don't think it looks that much like Call of Duty.
Well, what was so similar to me was basically the entire like HUD and what is it? Basically how all first-person shooters are today.
There's point values coming out of people when you kill them, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a pretty much a universal thing now, I guess, but that was kind of COD looking. But this looks like so much more creative, much more ambitious, and so much more fun than whatever Call of Duty Ghosts will be to me.
Hey, we don't know if this has dogs or not.
We don't know if this has dogs. I'm going to lay down the law right now, and you may agree with me, you may disagree with me, but mechs, better than dogs.
Well, maybe I could level with you here. Maybe mechs are cooler than dogs, but this story will never reach the emotional level of Call of Duty Ghosts because there's no dogs involved.
Here's the thing. Titanfall does not have a single player or a story component. This is a multiplayer game through and through. So it seems like Respawn's kind of just focusing on what they do best, which is fine to me because a lot of these campaigns and these shooters are pretty dumb. And what people want anyway is the multiplayer. So
All I'm saying is, I'm gonna get really emotionally attached to that dog, and so invested because it's there.
I'm gonna
If I
get
tell a good
emotionally.
story, you have to have a dog.
I'm gonna get emotionally attached to my mech, and when it blows up, I'll shed a tear.
There you are.
I won't.
That's not man's best friend.
So yeah, that wraps it up for the most part for things that Microsoft showed.
Also,
Um,
World of
yes,
Tanks on Xbox 360.
World of Thanks, and we didn't mention Dead Rising 3, but that is another Dead Rising game,
That
and
looks
there you
like
have it.
that looks like you took everything fun out of Dead Rising, and there it is.
I don't agree,
You
and
don't?
no, because it is a different setting, and it's not a mall or Vegas or something silly like that. It's like a brown city. Well, whatever. But in the game, you make dumb chainsaw weapons, and the core philosophy and the reason the Dead Rising exists is, hey, look how many zombies are on your screen, and that's definitely been preserved because wow, look at all those zombies. So this
All
looks
right.
like
I
this.
see.
It looks like all the core components of Dead Rising are still here, and I'm sure if you like the previous games, whatever you liked about them will be in full force here, and there'll be a lot of zombies. I promise.
All I'm gonna say is it doesn't have my interest because zombies. It's 2013.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of zombies at E3 this year, I guess. We'll see how long this bubble continues to grow.
I thought it'd be over long ago, and it should have been.
The Walking Dead's still on the air,
People
so
still like that TV show.
we're not talking about TV shows. That's silly. What does television have to do with gaming?
I mean, if you want a future-proof console,
But yeah, like I said, not everything they showed appealed to me, but
they showed
there
games.
they showed hella games. I think, and they did a great job. Like they showed games, and they showed the games well. They were cool looking. There's a wide swath, and if you were completely off board with the Xbox One prior, there's a lot of things that you could look at here and say this is the only place I could get this experience, and maybe I'm interested in what it is. So props to them for digging even a little bit out of what people were calling a hole they would never get out of.
But also, $499.
Right. So that was point number one. That's expensive, and I don't really think anybody going in thought they were going to go that high, and they did. So that's against Sony's. We'll just say it now against Sony's $100 cheaper machine. That might end up hurting them. I don't know. That I mean, it sucks for them that they're that much higher.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, they said they were going to show games, and they did. So props to them for that. But after the event last time, prior to E3, they kept all these interviews were about rules, and the takeaway everyone got from the event was, wow, the Xbox One has all these rules. So E3 was a place where they really needed to step up and say, here's why we have these rules, and this is what it does for you. Like I was saying earlier about the offload
Yeah.
cloud computing, and they didn't. They really made no attempt to justify their services. It's like they want you to look at those rules and those restrictions and say this is how things should be, and this is the sensible way to go. And people really aren't thinking that, so they need to say this is why this is valuable to you, and they didn't. So if you were on the boat that says I can't buy this because of these DRM practices, they did nothing to seek to bring you to their side. And that's a major fault, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, it was pretty good overall, but there was a couple flaws. Do you have anything else to bring up or add about the Xbox One that we might be forgetting?
Um, High roller, baby.
Yeah, if you want to live the high roller lifestyle, plop that extra 100 down.
Buy an Xbox One.
Buy Xbox One.
Also,
you got that great internet connection to go with it, I'm sure. So
yeah, well, I don't live in a third world country like Japan.
what were we gonna say?
Um, that's one conference down. We're at like 40 minutes, so this is probably going to go on for a while.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You want to take it in sections. You want to take it in all at once? It's up to you.
Hey, This is
We're
the
gonna,
E3 special. We're live from the show floor, so this
oh,
is a special occasion.
there's 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 Bill Gates himself.
Wow, he still runs Microsoft, right?
Um, no,
Oh, oh right.
I don't know why he's here.
Can he still jump over chairs?
He's
That must be.
he's
That's
carrying
fun.
a jar of mosquitoes with him. Isn't that weird?
Whoa, that was kind of.
Okay, so the next conference, I think we can shoot over this pretty quickly.
Yeah, these next two we could.
Um, first, the next console, shit, the next conference was from our good friends at EA.
Great guys.
Great guys. Let's just go into it. The first game they showed was a Plants vs Zombies shooter.
All right, who cares? Peggle 2.
Okay, moving on.
No,
The
whoa,
next two
whoa,
games they
whoa.
yes.
Peggle 1, fantastic casual game, great PopCap game. Play that. But wait, Peggle 2. I'm psyched.
If you were announcing Peggle 2 to the world for the first time, how high in the air would you jump in feet?
I mean, I thought they did it pretty well.
Moving on. The next two games they showed were at Microsoft. Battlefield 4, they showed the multiplayer component, which looks kind of crazy because there was skyscrapers falling over on multiplayer maps. So,
Yeah, that looked pretty cool. Now, I will jump back here. At the Xbox conference, they showed the Battlefield 1 single player.
right, which looked dumb.
That was probably the lowest point of that conference for me. God damn, that was boring.
It's not even like usually with these first person shooter demos, they show like a really heavily scripted section of the game where there's a lot of set pieces and stuff going off. This Battlefield 4 demo was really just, oh, I'm crouching behind this thing and I'm shooting these men.
Yeah, and it dragged like it went on.
But the multiplayer looks pretty crazy, and
Yeah,
64 players on console.
that's a
So
lot of players on a console.
that's been my dream for since I played Battlefront 2 on the PC.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of,
yeah, let's get to the important business. Battlefront, not Battlefront 3. This is perhaps a Battlefront reboot, but it doesn't matter what it is. The next Star Wars Battlefront game is in develop will be in development at DICE Studios, the makers of Battlefield.
well, I'm going to correct you here. It's Dice LA,
Okay.
which is it's changed names a bunch of times, but this is the studio that made Medal of Honor Warfighter.
Okay. I'm just gonna say this. Battlefront is a ripoff of Battlefield.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it. And
No.
I prefer Battlefront. I'm a Star Wars fan, and I think the games are great. But it seems like there's really no better place if it can't come to us from LucasArts.
Yeah.
There's really no better place for it to come from than the makers of Battlefield themselves. So I'm gonna put my faith in them, and I really hope this turns out to be cool because I'm a big Battlefront fan, and I think it's tragic the way Battlefront 3 turned out.
Yeah.
So
I'm real excited, but I'm going to be cautious because the history of games with a long life cycle.
yeah,
Anything could
well,
happen.
it's not clear to me how much of the work LucasArts had done will be put into use here, if any. But if I had to guess, I would say this is mostly going to be starting from scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super pumped about that. We probably won't see that game for the next like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Because they haven't even fully started on it yet. They really just acquired the Star Wars license weeks ago. So there's like a 15-second CG trailer with a walker and a speeder. Maybe it'll tie up the legs and knock it over. In terms of other stuff they showed some sports games.
Drake.
Drake came out on stage to introduce FIFA. If you like sports games, these games will be for you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They've introduced new technology such as Bounce Tech, which will make the basketball bounce as never before and make you, your opponent.
It's kind of a shame because.
Hey, excuse me. Excuse me. You, your opponent, the court, and the ball will be one. Go on.
Oh, sorry. It's kind of a shame because a lot of people like these games. it's the same basically every single year. But the problem is that the people that want to play a sports game, like this is the only thing they can do. This is like the only game. So there's no other option. If you want to play football, you have to play Madden, which kind of sucks.
You're
So
saying there's no competition, which
no,
is traditionally unhealthy for any market.
yeah, not to mention illegal a lot of the times.
Yeah. Sure. I guess that is kind of shitty,
The
but
NFL just has a thing for like monopolies, like DirecTV, Madden.
I think for the most part, football fans are okay with Madden,
Yeah,
and I don't really have much to offer on football games, but I'm sure Madden's good. I'm
I
sure
will
the next
say
Madden will be
though,
good.
I like to play NHL because I'm a hockey fan.
They didn't show you at NHL.
Yeah, and it's out of any EA sports title, it's always the highest rated because it actually evolves, but they never show it. No one likes hockey.
They
It was a really good hockey game on tonight too. Just saying.
they brought Dana White on stage yet again to pimp the next UFC game, or I guess this might be the same one they were talking about last year.
Who cares?
Well, I actually played whatever UFC game, a little bit of the whatever UFC game THQ put out, and it's it's a little bit fun. I think UFC is kind of cool. Um,
I'd rather play like a professional wrestling game.
yeah, that's probably more fun. I would say so
Yeah,
too. They talked about all this new technology, all this everything new for this new MMA game, and I was like, wow, what's it gonna look like? They didn't show it. They showed a CG trailer. So I don't get why they spend like 5-10 minutes on this stuff, saying like we're gonna have an MMAI system that will make the game different than ever before, and here's a CG trailer that isn't from the game. Um, and then Dana White left. So
well, first he said that like everyone loves to watch fighting, and
true,
because
true.
everyone likes to fight.
Hey, you just said you like hockey.
Hey, you're right.
Uh, and finally, and may I say, most importantly, Mirror's Edge 2 was revealed officially,
Thank God.
and it is a multi-platform game. PS4 fans.
Thank God.
It looks like it's going to be a prequel to the original Mirror's Edge, which, you know what? Story could go either way. I don't really care. Uh, I want some good running. I want some good jumping. I don't want too much clunky fighting if I can help it. So
Hopefully it's a little longer.
yeah, sure. Um, hopefully they've internalized some of the criticisms of the first game, and I think they
Done.
really don't have a choice because the first game sold pretty poorly, so it would be smart to address the problems people had with it to widen the appeal a bit. Um, I'm relieved the art style has remained the same.
Yeah.
There's no brown in these games. This is a whitewashed city, and it fits into the story. And I still think Mirror's Edge 1 is a really striking game visually.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
I'd say one of like the better looking games of last generation.
Yeah, like I can go back and play that now, and there's some spotty texture work here and there in that game, but like as an overall experience, it's really stunning looking. And finally, they not at the conference, but we now know that Mirror's Edge 2 is a open world game, and I think they need to sell me on that, but I'm not going to write it off because we were talking about this earlier. A lot of games will go open world and then not really do anything with the setting
Yeah.
or the increase in space, like
Batman.
Batman Arkham City. But they'll like throw time trials around for you to race around the environment, and you won't really care about them. But Mirror's Edge is all about time trials, and time trials is the most fun thing in Mirror's Edge. So I'm looking at it kind of from the perspective of like an open world racing game, which have been popular these days. If they get like stuff like autolog going in it, and you can compare times with your friends and
Hmm.
just race through sections of the city, or maybe even pick a section of the city and create your own race course.
Oh, that's something.
That could be really cool. So I'm gonna try and stay optimistic on it, and I'm really excited that Mirror's Edge got a sequel.
Yeah, I'm
So
glad it's a thing.
good on you, EA. Um,
Hey, whoever thought you'd say that?
they I'm not always anti EA. They make some good stuff sometimes, and they're done with online passes forever. They say
Uh, okay. Okay.
so. Good on them for that too. Uh, I think that's it really from the EA conference.
I will
Um,
say though, we missed something about Xbox. I'll touch back on it now. Killer Instinct. All I'm gonna say is, hey, I'd rather play Street Fighter. If you got shit taste, play Mortal Kombat. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Uh, controversial. Controversial fighting game opinions there.
The right fighting game opinions.
Okay, all right. EA, like they showed two things that I'm really, really pumped about: Mirror's Edge and Battlefront. The rest of the show, I really couldn't care.
Yeah,
Like, and it's not like the stuff they showed was bad, and I'm sure the sports games will be great, and the next gen stuff will be cool. But I feel like there's a better way to present this stuff, and they just like there's a way they could present these things and make somebody like me who doesn't really care, and they haven't found it yet. I'm gonna give you a piece I'm gonna give you a piece of advice right now. Stop bringing athletes on stage. Stop bringing Dana White on stage. They are involved with sports, but they have nothing to do with sports games.
Drake does though. Bring him
Drake,
back.
please bring Drake back next year. If he could come out and perform his newest hit, can you fill that in for me?
Um, the one about
If he can come out on stage and throw and get in a fight with
Dana White.
no, listen to me, you dope. If he could come on stage and get in a fight with Chris Brown and they throw like full bottles of whiskey at each other, and Dana White's watching like laughing, there you go. That's a show.
Fantastic.
The prize is Rihanna. Who wins? And an
No one.
Xbox One. No one. That's right. So that covers it for EA. I think we'll quickly move on to Ubisoft, who went after that. The conference this year from Ubisoft was pretty familiar. Most of the things they showed were also shown last year, so we'll hop through it.
No Toby Turner though. That's such a shame.
Yeah,
Really a comedic visionary.
I actually came in 5 minutes late or so to the Ubisoft conference, and the first thing I saw was Aisha Tyler was back, and I was like, oh, that's the girl who made that dumb joke about Girlwood, and then I saw her T-shirt, which read #Girlwood. So, a moment of silence. Okay,
All right.
you're probably done laughing about Girlwood now. Sorry, I said it again.
Yeah,
Give me a second.
hey, it's funny.
It's too funny. It's just too funny. They showed Splinter Cell Blacklist.
Who cares?
I think even Splinter Cell fans at this point really don't care about this game. It's funny because they had Jade Raymond come on, and well, not at the conference, but they've had Jade Raymond do interviews about it. And she said this is from a new Ubisoft studio actually that she's put in charge of. She says their core value is innovation, and this looks like Splinter Cell with everything that was innovative or unique about it dragged out. So I don't know. Maybe there's more to see about it. The trailer they showed was weird and had all this crap flying around the screen, around the footage. It was hard to see what was going on.
Is there anyone who really cares about Splinter Cell anymore?
Yeah, there are people, but I think that they're more committed to the past games than these new ones. Yeah, that covers that. They showed Rayman Origins, which is a game that is completely done and ready to be released at any time, and you'll be able to play it in September.
Cool.
They used their spare time to create a full CG trailer for a 2D platformer.
Fantastic.
They showed a new racing game, which is actually pretty interesting looking, called The Crew, which will focus on car customization and apparently has a massive map that almost is like the whole United States or something.
That's pretty cool.
And I said earlier, I don't know much about racing games. I typically don't play racing games that much. That sounds cool to me. Like the whole US.
I heard, hey, if you want to drive from Los Angeles to Denver in game, 2 real hours. That's a big map.
Yeah, that's a huge map. And there seems like...
I bet that's how long it takes in real life.
From what they showed, this seems like the most wide range of different types of cars I've seen in a game. And there's a big focus on off-road and on-road as different play styles. So it's not a game where you drive on the road or you lose, I guess. You can play the game how you want to play it and explore the map how you want to explore it. Which sounds really awesome to me. Um, yeah, there's not really much else I can say about it, but I think out of all the driving games I saw at E3 this year, the one that caught my attention the most was The Crew. So if you like racing games, keep an eye on it, I guess.
Also, I think it's an MLS soccer team.
What?
The Crew. I could
Is
be
that the.
wrong. It's a professional soccer team.
Okay. So they should have brought Drake out to introduce it.
Yeah, well, he likes FIFA.
He does like FIFA. Um, they showed a Rabbids TV show.
Yeah,
The next game they showed was Watch Dogs, which we saw last year. This game continues to interest me, continues to
yeah,
impress me.
pretty
It
cool.
looks it looks like the next step for Assassin's Creed, which is a weird thing to say, but it's an open world game with a similar kind of structure or something that look to Assassin's Creed. There's a lot of running and
Like
uh,
visuals popping up, like cues and stuff.
yeah, stylistically it seems really similar to Assassin's Creed, and there's shooting in it, but there is also melee combat that looks similar to Assassin's Creed, and it's from the same studio as Assassin's Creed, so go figure. But it looks way more creative than anything Assassin's Creed has done in the past few years. So I'm interested to see how the game turns out.
Yeah, everyone's excited for this. Like everyone.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll say it right now. I'm probably gonna go get that game when it comes out and see how it is.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Now on to Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed 4 has pirates. They didn't demo it at the Ubisoft conference. I like Assassin's Creed, and I'll probably end
They
up playing
tried
this
to at
one.
Sony.
They tried. They did their best.
I'll tell you
Uh,
what. Well, we're gonna jump here, but watching that demo at the Sony conference for Assassin's Creed 4, um, I kept thinking to myself, like, why does this have to be Assassin's Creed?
I don't agree with you
You know,
because
I
sales are important. You know, making money is important. Assassin's Creed is a popular brand, and I'm never gonna say that a dude wearing a hood going and stabbing dudes and like taking out his pistols and shooting everybody and jumping onto his ship and then sailing away like whatever is not cool. That's always cool. That's always gonna be cool. There's more than that to make a good game, but the Assassin's Creed brand I think is still valuable, and I'm still interested in it. I guess
what are they gonna do now that like the whole future like Assassin's kind of that whole storyline ended, right?
it did not end. No,
It didn't.
I actually uh, the official word. Well, this is a little bit. We'll get into a deep Assassin's Creed conversation here, I guess. So thank you. Um, at the end of Assassin's Creed 3, spoilers, Desmond exits stage left and will no longer be in the games.
Okay.
The story takes a major turn that makes you think that the next game is going to have to address something really big. Um, okay, and let's rewind to here a little bit. They alongside of Assassin's Creed 3, they put out a game on the Vita called Assassin's Creed Liberation. And the conceit of this game was not that the main character was using an animus to go back in time, but that you, the user, were using a consumer, mass-produced entertainment version of the animus to go back in time.
Ah.
So, the game was developed by a fake studio called Abstergo Entertainment, and you as the player kind of filled Desmond's role, which is an interesting idea. I'll give it to them, but it really didn't have anything to do with the continuing story of Assassin's Creed, and it really didn't have anything to do with you. They introduced that at the beginning of the game, and then that's it with that. So anyway, in an interview about Assassin's Creed 4, they said that's going to be the conceit for this game as well. The user will be Desmond. So it makes me think that they really can't progress the main plot that way.
But you get to be a pirate.
Yeah, you get to be a pirate. So it seems like, despite this being a numbered title in the Assassin's Creed franchise, they're really not moving the main plot forward, and maybe they're trying to distance themselves from the present day sections of the game because those are always the least well received.
Yeah.
So if they're ditching that storyline, I'd say it's a shame because while those were certainly lacking compared to the other content in the games, I was always interested to see what happened next, and I would
Yeah.
like to see where it goes. But if that's it for that, fine, because the ending was crappy anyway. Yeah, and that's there's one more thing. The last game they showed at Ubisoft was a shooter MMO called The Division. Tom Clancy's The Division. Prior to this E3, I've tended to say that making a shooter MMO is one way to bankrupt your studio, but this game actually looks pretty neat. It seems like it has a really big focus on squad based, like playing with other people in small squads, and kind of organic PvP, combat. Like out of nowhere, I guess, another group of players might show up and kind of mess with you, which seems like a cool idea. And it seems like the squad and communication kind of mechanics going on in this game were cool. So there's not much to say about it. There's cover, there's third-person shooting, there's loot. It's an MMO.
Yeah.
But it looks genuinely pretty interesting, and it's going to be on console. So,
console MMOs.
In the past, I've said, console MMOs are doomed to fail, but I feel like this next generation might be the key to a successful console MMO. So we'll see. There's another one to talk about later, too. And I think that covers it for Ubisoft. The show was really similar to last year, and they mostly just showed new versions or the same version of something that they showed last year. But nothing that they showed was offensively bad, assuming that rabbits don't exist.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was it for E3. Oh, I'm sorry, this on the same day. On the same day, that night, something happened.
Something big.
Microsoft had their say, and I think they gave it a good go. But their rivals, Sony Entertainment, took the stage that night, and they brought their A game. Sony's press conference was super impressive, I would say.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's funny because their press conference was about a half hour longer than everybody else's, and the first 20 minutes or so were like,
was like bullshit that
what
I
the
didn't.
hell is this? Like at least at Microsoft's Xbox One reveal event, they had TV stuff that people don't really care about, but they showed it working, and they showed how it's going to integrate into the console. So fine, it's cool in that way. Sony spent 20 minutes talking about music and movie streaming, while having just static pictures on the screen and not really showing what anything was. So why do I care? Everything I have can do that. And they talked about how they were going to be curating content on PlayStation Network so that it was suited towards gamers. There was a movie poster for Grown Ups 2 on the screen.
I just want to really. Sorry, I was eating.
Yes.
I just want to comment real quick. How on earth did that get a sequel?
Well, if you're a gamer, clearly it's for you. Actually, I'd like to announce our sponsor at this point. Grown Ups 2 will be in theaters next year.
I'm with Adam Sandler on the show floor right now.
Grown Ups 2 features the continuing story of Adam Sandler and Chris Rock as they do embarrassing things, and their children say, "Wow, Dad, you're so old. Don't you know what a smartphone is?"
To which he replies, "Yes, I have this."
No, he doesn't. He doesn't reply. He goes down a water slide.
Oh,
and falls over.
I was gonna make a joke about a razor phone.
He does a belly flop and it hurts because it hurts when you do that. Adults are so stupid.
Kids.
Sony.
Grown-ups.
So after that bullshit, which was about 20 minutes or so, maybe even less.
It dragged.
The games arrived.
Well, PS3 games and Vita games.
That's fine. Those exist. Let's talk about the PS4 section of the show. Right off the bat, I'll say this: Sony showed a lot of games at their conference on stage. Most of them are not exclusives.
No.
So, what it comes down to here is the PS4 will have a lot of games, good, and these games look good. They look cool. So, if you're not interested in Microsoft's exclusives and you can't abide by their DRM, the PlayStation 4 is for you. But they're not showing a lot of we have this, like Microsoft did. That said, what they showed was really cool. So let's just get into it. They started off by showing a trailer for a original or a new IP called The Order 1886.
This is exclusive, right?
Yes, it is. It's a partnership between Sony Santa Monica Studios, who are the developers of God of War, and Ready at Dawn Studios, who have done a lot of ports and PSP God of War games. And this is, they said, the new IP they wanted to make for a long time, and now they have the clout to make it. It looks like a steampunk game.
Yeah.
I guess that's not really a genre. It looks like a steampunk shooter. And there's werewolves.
Yeah, they look like werewolves, what they were shooting at.
At first I thought they were zombies and rolled my eyes, but hey, if it's werewolves, good
All right.
on you.
Well, while I was watching this trailer, right when it got to the point where they all like started loading guns, I kind of let out a sigh, like, "Oh, here comes another shoot."
And we don't know. This is a CG trailer. We don't know what kind of game this is. It'll probably be a first or a third person shooter. I'm gonna guess first. But the weapons themselves look kind of unique and creative.
Yeah.
And the setting, steampunk's the thing, but if they can do a cool job with it, like, say like Dishonored kind of did, it can be cool. So that looks interesting to me, and the developers behind it have proven themselves to be quite capable. So I would say keep an eye on that. If you like werewolves, this might be the silver bullet.
So good one.
Thanks. I've been waiting for like an hour on that one. There's new trailers for Killzone Shadowfall, which looks like a sci-fi first-person shooter.
Finally, there's color. I'll say that.
You're right. Visually, this looks way better and way more interesting than any Killzone game I've seen in the past.
I still probably won't play it.
Yeah, Killzone's really never grabbed me in the past, and I don't know. There's just something about it that just seems like so generic. People are saying that this one really stands out, and from what they've shown, I don't really get that impression. But I'm not gonna not take their word for it. Maybe I'll give it a chance. Who knows? It looks pretty cool compared to other Killzone games. And the other one they showed was Infamous Second Son, which is a sequel to the Infamous franchise. They didn't show any gameplay, correct?
No, it was a CG trailer. Which it seemed to be like the tail of the day here. CG trailers.
They showed some demos.
Well, I mean, overall E3, a lot of CG.
A lot of CG, as always. This looks more interesting to me. Like same thing as Killzone. This looks more interesting to me than any Infamous game I've seen before. Maybe Troy Baker's luscious pipes were what drew me in.
Here he is again.
Maybe it was the more interesting art style. Maybe it was the apparent some attempts at some humor.
Was it the weird Nirvana song covered?
Yeah, Nirvana song covers. If you're gonna make a trailer for your game, if you're making a trailer right now and you're listening, just find the weirdest Nirvana cover you can find. Put that shit in there. I'll buy your game day one.
Also, the protagonist kind of looked like, well, maybe he's an anti-hero. I don't know. The main guy, looked a lot like Bam Margera.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
All right, I'm about that.
Take my word for that.
Okay. Yeah, and you know what? They showed another trailer for Knack, which they introduced at their reveal event, and that really does it for exclusive games for the PS4.
Don't forget Drive Club.
And Drive Club, right, which is a racing game, which could be cool.
Cars.
I don't know. They really haven't shown much of it.
It's Cars.
It's Cars. That's
also, when they revealed that was a pretty like sensual car experience too.
I think Forza outdid them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, they brought the actual car on stage.
That's true. That's a pretty limited platter of exclusives, and they don't really cover a super diverse audience, I guess. But none of them look bad. They all look good. So, it should be okay. I think it'll be fine. Mm-hmm. There's people who like these games. I want to see what Knack is like to play.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because people keep saying great things about it, and it's hard to tell what it's like. So I'm interested about that. Probably the biggest. Oh, let's talk about indie games first. This is a super cool thing.
Yeah, I really like this.
So compare and contrast to Microsoft's Minecraft trailer announcement. They brought like what 8 indie game developers on stage at
Yeah.
once.
Well, they started off with Supergiant,
Right.
and Transistor looks awesome.
Definitely. Yeah. It looks a lot like Bastion visually, but the gameplay looks completely different and totally awesome.
And
So
then
after
they brought out 8 different indie developers.
they were all demoing their games, they have Octodad. They had that what's it called? That pixel Contra looking shooter.
Mercenary Kings.
Mercenary Kings, yeah, which
They
looks
they had
awesome.
an Oddworld game.
They had a new Oddworld game, or it might have been a remake.
I think it was a remake.
But
Shit.
regardless,
They had an
you know,
Oddworld game.
if there was a way to convince people that you're not bullshitting about having like a strong indie presence on your box, this was the way to do it. Like it was really cool to see all these guys up there.
And indies can self-publish on the PS4.
Yeah, and it sounds like they're making it super easy to do, and they're
This is
like the
awesome.
complete opposite of Microsoft in terms of like ease of working with. So that's exciting to me because I am a fan of some indie games, and I like having a box that gives you access to not only the big old AAA whatever, but also this huge variety of like smaller games. And people say that consoles are in trouble because smartphone games are gonna kill them or something. But if you have a strong indie presence on your console, you can get a lot of that. You can get a lot of that pie, I think. So
I just want a console that plays Angry Birds and cut the rope.
well, that is on the Xbox 360 with Kinect integration.
Actually, yeah, at my place of employment, I have to sell that every day to mothers. It's $40, and you could buy it on your phone for $3. So
But you can't speak to it. On
you're
your
right.
phone?
You're right.
That's worth at least $38.
Yeah, If you want to like come into my place of employment, buy that game, and like later in that night, I'll probably cry myself to sleep. But if you want to do that, come on down.
Okay, big news. This is a bombshell.
2 bombs.
2 bombs.
2 big bombs. Sorry, too soon. Sorry, Japan. 2 big bombs from Japan this time.
They're on the
That was a
offensive.
bad bit. I'm
Oh my
sorry.
God, shut up. Man, Jesus Christ. So Final Fantasy Versus 13 has been in development for a very, 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 very long time. And if you ask somebody 2 days ago, is Final Fantasy Versus 13 ever going to come out? They might have said no. And at the Sony press conference, they brought out Final Fantasy Versus 13 on stage, and now it has been redubbed. It has been knighted. It has been accepted into the ranks as a numbered Final Fantasy title. Only the best get to be numbered.
Like Final Fantasy 13 too.
Like Final Fantasy
Only
13, 13-2, and 14. Mind you.
Only the best.
I think people were super psyched, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't really have much attachment to Final Fantasy,
Oh, me either.
but I think those
Look
games
cool.
are great, and this game looks really cool, like really, really cool. The graphics look amazing, and the combat looks. I hesitate
Interesting.
to say Kingdom Hearts E, but it looks Kingdom Hearts E, which isn't a bad thing, because the best part about Kingdom Hearts is the combat and not the other bullshit.
Hey, on to the next thing here. I don't give a shit
Yeah.
about
Oh
this.
yeah, speaking about Kingdom Hearts,
I don't give a
Bombshell number
I
2.
don't give a shit about Kingdom Hearts, but like
Well-
this is big.
Yeah, it's big. After Kingdom Hearts 2 came out, like a decade ago,
Yeah.
there was a lot of spin-offs, 7 of them, in fact, for various different platforms.
Hey, if you want to waste like an hour of your day, go to GameTrailers.com. You go to their timeline series. There's like this 56-minute bullshit thing explaining the timeline of Kingdom Hearts. If you just want to like, if you're an idiot, you want to waste an hour of your fucking day,
Okay,
do that.
listen. There's been like 7 spin-offs on various different platforms. That was all training. Now they're ready to make the next real Kingdom Hearts game.
3.
Kingdom
Trace.
Hearts 3. No bullshit. No 358 over 2.
Yeah, there was fractions, weren't there?
There were fractions. This is not a fraction. Well, it is. You could write it as 3 over 1 if you want, but they're not going to.
Roman numerals, bitch.
Is it? It is in Roman numerals. Um, in the trailer, Sora has a keyblade, and there are heartless things. Actually, the graphics in this game look kind of cel shaded almost.
Yeah.
I think it looks pretty cool. Like a very different look than like the kind of photorealistic but still anime look of
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 15. It's more cartoony, but I think that fits with the Disney theme,
Oh yeah.
obviously. And it looks like really smooth, really good looking. I'm gonna be honest, I'm probably not that invested in Kingdom Hearts,
Oh
but
no.
hey,
I
I'll keep my eye on it.
I tried to play Kingdom Hearts recently, so maybe that's it. But yeah, I'm a huge Disney fan. I love Disney.
Okay.
God damn, that game sucked. I said it.
Um, I haven't played Kingdom Hearts in a long, long time. I've played I think a little bit of the console, the originals, and some of the spin-offs as well. The best part is always the combat, and I kind of like their take on being able to move around and freely, attack and move like an action game in an RPG combat setting.
Yeah.
Not a lot of games do that, or do it well anyway. And I think Kingdom Hearts has an interesting perspective on that, and maybe 3 will have the same.
I hope the camera's fixed.
Is that a big problem?
Well, when I played, maybe it's fixed in the second. I haven't played
Yeah,
it.
I don't know.
First, it is.
But regardless of our feelings, that's a big
Yeah,
deal.
it's huge.
That is going to be on the Xbox One as well. But like I said, if you're a guy who doesn't like some DRM on his games, this is on the PS4 for you. So, big deal. There's on-stage demos for 2 Ubisoft games, Assassin's Creed 4 and Watch Dogs, which we already talked about. The demos
One of
were
them
cool.
worked.
There was weird pausing in the Assassin's Creed demo, which, the game's in development right now.
Yeah.
So, shit happens. It wasn't as bad.
Then we got to see a real uncanny take on LeBron James.
What are you talking about? That was photorealistic.
Oh.
He
was cracking jokes.
That was literally LeBron James in the pixel, like in the flesh. But
who can ball better?
Basketball.
All right. I would make a joke about like the in-game LeBron James, but I don't know if the Heat are winning the finals or not, so I'm not going to comment.
Okay, let's just pretend they're losing and make a joke. Go ahead.
Well, clearly the in-game one does because he's not fucking blowing the finals right now for the Heat. Rest in peace.
If you called that right, this is a good sports podcast right here. The Elder Scrolls Online.
Fuck that, dude. I couldn't care less. And it looks like dick. I said it.
The graphics are pretty bad, but it is gonna. I believe it'll be on current gen consoles as well.
Yeah.
For Elder Scrolls fans, it looks like an Elder Scrolls game you can play with a lot of different people.
Which, hey, everyone's been bitching. Hey, well, why can't I play Skyrim with my buds? Well,
yeah,
now you
so
can.
if that's what you want, I bet this will be the thing for you.
Yo, word is from the show floor where we're at, this game plays like dick.
I can't go away one way or another on it. Maybe it's lacking.
I heard it plays like any other MMO, so not good.
Yeah, all right. I feel like if your itch is Elder Scrolls, but with other people, this will scratch it. Like, I don't think it'll be offensively bad. I don't think that they would put out an Elder Scrolls game. Because who puts out an MMO under a major franchise that ruins everything?
Well, it wasn't a major franchise, but it did ruin everything. Kingdoms of Amalur.
I was actually making a joke about Final Fantasy 14.
Oh, that too. Yeah. Hey, we could do a whole like straight up like joke session back and forth about shitty MMOs.
Let's not.
Okay.
They showed a new Mad Max game.
Yeah. Wow.
Cool.
Yeah, Mad Max. Those movies are cool.
I'm actually gonna say I don't know if this is an exclusive or not.
Yeah.
Maybe it is. If it is, good for them. That seems like a good get. Mad Max in the trailer refuses to shoot somebody because he is low on bullets, and then he climbs back into his car. And I said, well, he should at least drive over him and be merciful. And then he does. Mad Max.
Yeah.
There was an onstage demo for Bungie's new game, Destiny, which is another MMO shooter. Like I said earlier, I used to believe that an MMO shooter was a stop on the road to hell. But this game, like The Division, looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
It looks like the fun parts of Halo that are no longer in Halo.
I I going into this, I didn't really care about this game at all. I thought the art looked cool, and I still think it looks pretty fucking cool.
The
But
art looks pretty fucking cool.
after this demo, I guess I'm on board. I like sci-fi. Like, hey, different races from all over like our solar system. That's pretty cool,
And you know
and it
what?
looked fun.
We were saying earlier, like, oh, The Elder Scrolls Online looks pretty bad because it's on current gen consoles. But hey, so is Destiny, and that game
Yeah,
looks ballin'.
yeah,
So, uh, we talked about this earlier, and it kind of brings up a Borderlands-ish vibe in the way that you amass loot and co-op shoot with your friends.
it looks like Borderlands but fun.
This looks way better than Borderlands to me. It looks
Looks
really
better,
fun,
probably plays better.
and you can jump like dope high.
Yeah,
Halo. So, yeah, there's not like a whole lot to say about the demo. I would recommend you watch it. And this was like the one demo I saw at E3 where the people on stage didn't seem like they were faking it, and they were laughing and looked like they were having a good time.
yeah, they were showing off their game.
And maybe that was part of the reason why it looked so fun to me. But it wasn't like, hey, here comes a mech. Let's kill it. It was more like, well, I can't believe he killed him. Oh, I'm in trouble. That kind of natural banter. And it felt good to finally see that. So it was a good showing. I'm excited for the game.
Yeah,
Okay. So games are games, and they will always be games. But there was more at this conference.
some things needed to be said.
So last week we said that this was a big opportunity for Sony, and they can't just come out and pussyfoot around and expect to win E3. They need to reach out and grab victory, and you know what? Step on Microsoft along the way. And I was like, this is what they need to do, but who knows if they have the balls to do it? Like the past few years, they haven't been taking shots at each other at all. They just do their own thing. But hey, Sony, you proved me wrong. You have the balls and more.
They did it.
So first of all, not first of all. First of all, Jack Tretton returned to the stage and addressed point by point Xbox's online DRM practices, used game practices, etc. And for each said, this is something the PS4 will not be doing because we are pro-consumer. And he got a lot of applause.
Thunderous, boisterous.
Applause. I believe there was an ovation, a standing ovation.
I heard chants of like Sony.
So with this announcement, Sony, no matter how important it actually is, Sony has become the hero of people's hearts. And that's like big. Like the conversation from now until November, no matter what happens, will be framed that way. Sony's the hero, Sony's the good guy, Microsoft is the bad guy, and they're going to be defeated. And who knows what will actually happen, but as a PR move, super smart, super well executed. Big. And just speaking personally, I'm leaning more towards the PS4 because of it.
Oh yeah.
Because you know what? I really don't feel like I'm about this DRM stuff, and Microsoft's not making a case about it for me, so what am I supposed to say? Like, I don't like it, and Sony's not doing it.
I think I said this last week too. Maybe it was last week. There's no way I'm getting Xbox One. Well, now there's sure as shit no way I'm getting Xbox One. Oh, and if like the no DRM pro consumer pro developer thing wasn't enough, it's $100 cheaper.
Yeah, so the final nail in the coffin, you might say, $100 cheaper, which is significant. And also on the other side of the spectrum, which we'll get to this, only $50 more expensive than a Wii U.
Why would you fucking buy a Wii U?
So this was a really, really great show for Sony and the PlayStation 4. And I feel like if you were saying before, like, well, I'm only going with Sony because they might not have this DRM stuff, and I just can't abide by Xbox. They've gone beyond that now. Like, they've really made a case for themselves.
I really think it should be like a no-brainer.
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, Xbox showed more exclusives, so if those are things you're about, you have a choice to make. But if these issues, these online requirements, are the most important issue in your purchase, Sony's got you, and that's how it's going to be.
And by putting your money towards these like new systems and stuff, you're just showing that hey, it's okay for you to do this, which is not cool.
That's true. You're voting with your dollars, so you know it sounds weird to say it, but you really at this point you got to pick your side and vote with your dollars on what you want to see more of. And if you like the online stuff, then vote for that. It's up to you. But the lines in the sand are drawn now officially.
Yeah, this is some old like Sega Nintendo shit.
It really is, and I'm excited to see how it pans out in the future, because the shots fired.
Shots fired.
Let's see if some return fire happens. I'm excited. Do you have anything else to say about Sony?
One other thing was when they actually showed the box, like I think it looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. It looks visually pleasing.
And another thing is they must be real proud of like how it looks, because they brought the designer like out on stage and he was like nervous, and that was pretty cool.
I think people were psyched about it overall.
Yeah, and what's great is what I heard later on is it won't have a power brick. It's all internal.
Awesome.
It's small.
Yep.
And the Xbox One's kind of big. A lot of empty. I hear a lot of empty space inside, and it will have a brick.
So, aesthetically speaking, if you're all about the art, if you're all about the physical visual experience, maybe the PlayStation 4 is for you.
Now, if you want to stack your other consoles on top of your Xbox One, nothing better.
That's an option too. If you like VCRs,
yeah, you could probably fit a VCR on top of that thing.
You could. You could fit all your VCRs on top of it.
You could fit an Xbox Fat on it.
One other thing.
You could fit an Xbox One on your Xbox One.
I wanted last week. I said I wanted Sony to make a strong case for the Vita at E3 this year, and they didn't. Not even close.
No, they didn't.
Not even close. But there was one important thing they talked about, and I'm super excited for it. The Vita is going to be, first of all, an important part, they say, of the PlayStation 4 environment. You can use it as a PlayStation 4 controller for any game that doesn't have like a requirement for like a camera or something like that.
That's pretty cool.
Awesome.
This is definitely their answer to the
Smart Glass.
Smart Glass, and then the gamepad.
And the gamepad, you're right. And it seems cool to me. We'll see. It's not like. Here's the difference to me between Smart Glass and this Vita integration. Smart Glass is like, look at these additional elements that don't really matter to the core game you can put on a tablet.
Yeah.
Whereas with Vita, you can stream your games from the TV onto your Vita, like the Wii U gamepad, which is convenient and cool, and you can use it as a controller. So it's not a tablet. You can't use it as a regular controller. It's one thing. It's one thing to keep track of. So that sounds way better to me than Smart Glass.
Yeah.
The other thing they announced was that through Gaikai, they're building this huge server farm or whatever, where they're gonna. The PS4 is not backwards compatible, but they'll be streaming the PS3 library to the PS4 and to the Vita. So I don't own a PS3, but if there's some cool PS3 exclusives I haven't had a chance to play, hopefully this means through my Vita I'll be able to do that, which is rad. That's rad. So they didn't make a strong case in terms of software, and I hope that they will in the future. But as always, the Vita has a bunch of other strange uses that are kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. One other thing we didn't really touch on was the Aquatic Dream games. The one coming out for PlayStation 3, Beyond Two Souls. I still have no idea what the hell it is.
I don't really care about that.
Oh, yeah, me either. And then I think that the next one they showed, the Dark Sorcerer, also couldn't give a shit.
That's not a game. That's a demo.
Yeah.
It's not a game like that's not going to be a video game.
That was just like tech demo?
Yeah, it was a tech demo.
I don't give a shit what Aquatic Dream does. Heavy Rain, I don't care.
Like, I think, let's just being fair, I think Heavy Rain and Beyond have an interesting premise, but the fact that the creator just over and over says, I hate video games and I'm going to fix them, like, shut up. Like, if you want to make a movie, make a movie. If you think that video games need to be movies to be good, then fuck off. That's all I have
Well,
to say.
there was a lot of emotion in that Dark Sorcerer.
I'll say the animation looks good as always from Quantic Dream,
Who
and
cares?
good on them. Whatever. So does that put a cap in it for Sony?
Play the game.
It's time to play the game. Um, so Nintendo had a show on Tuesday. They may or may not have realized that it was taking place during E3. I didn't get the impression either way, but they showed some stuff, and we're gonna talk about it.
I had to wake up real early to watch this. I was pissed
Um,
off.
I just, like, okay, just to get into it right now. There's really nothing on this list that's super interesting to talk about. This is like Nintendo's making another one of these, and another one of those, and another one of those, and I'm sure they're all gonna be great because they're made by Nintendo and they make great games. But it just like they keep doing this, and the Wii U just can't get third parties, and it's another Wii situation, and it's not selling well like the Wii was, and I don't know.
3DS though
It doesn't strike me as enough. Well, we'll talk about the 3DS some other time. So like right off the bat, the first game, Mario Kart 8.
looks cool. Looks real cool.
They're numbering them now, which all right, go for it. It does look cool. It looks like the next Mario Kart.
Visually, it looks nice too.
Yeah, definitely, and it should because the Wii U does have more power than Nintendo may have be putting it to use in past games. So it looks, yeah, it's more Mario Kart. What am I gonna say? There's hovercrafts. If you like Mario Kart, I bet you'll like it. I think I will. Wii Fit U, which it's the next Wii Fit. To be fair, to me, it looks like a goddamn mess because you're messing with Wii remotes, the balance board, and game pads all at once. So if you like plastic things, and a lot of them,
Peripherals, tons of.
We Fit You. We Play You. I think We Play underneath Wii Fit might be the best-selling Wii game, so it makes sense to make another one. And it looks like more tech demos for the gamepad. So if you like that sort of thing, you like your mini games, you like your multiplayer party game type stuff, it actually looks more Mario Party-esque, I think, than the past Wii Play.
Yeah.
So cool. The Wonderful 101. They've shown that twice before.
It's fun to play. I said that last week.
We talked about it last week. Retro Studios has been keeping it a huge mystery what their current project is, and apparently it was almost shown last year at E3, but at the last minute they pulled the plug, and people said, this must be a big deal. This must be a megaton. No, it's another Donkey Kong Country game.
Not Metroid.
Well, here's the thing. They did an interview afterward where they said, well, when we started developing for the Wii U, we had a hard choice to make between making another Metroid game and making Donkey Kong Country. And people were saying, oh, I wish they'd gone with Metroid. But I'm not even saying that, because I think Metroid Prime is done. I think they did what they need to do with that. It's weird to me that a studio that put out as much genuinely creative and awesome art and visual and game design all put together in one as Metroid Prime would say oh, we were gonna make another one of these, but instead we made another one of these.
Yeah.
I didn't really want either. I wanted to see what's Retro's take on Zelda? What's Retro's original IP that they're working on?
Yeah, that would have been great.
It just doesn't feel like the same. They've lost a lot of talent in the past few years, and Armature Studios is kind of like a studio completely made up of past Retro employees, and it feels like a rare situation to me. I'm sure. To be fair, I'm sure they'll continue making enjoyable games, but that spark just doesn't look like it doesn't feel like it's there anymore.
Yeah.
I'm sure, like I said about these other games, that this will be a good game, but it's not enough. I don't know.
Yeah.
On that note, Super Mario 3D World,
Cat Mario.
which I guess the object is to bring the Super Mario 3D Land experience onto the Wii U. I would like to know why the why 3D is still in the title.
Yeah.
Is it just because they want to evoke the past game? because it's not 3D anymore.
I think it's kind of confusing. I initially thought it was going to be on 3DS. It's not.
I don't get it. It looks like Super Mario 3D Lands for the 3DS, which is a good game, and I'm sure this will be a good game. But when they said they were making a new 3D Mario game, I thought they were gonna make like the big successor to Mario Galaxy,
Yeah.
and this is not that.
Nope.
Okay, they're making a remake of The Legend of Zelda: Wind Waker.
Which is my favorite video game of all time.
Okay, so you're probably a little interested in this.
No.
No,
Not really, no.
the graphics look rad.
Yeah.
They said they're going to be making some improvements to the actual flow of the game.
Which I think is great.
So that's the thing. If you haven't played Wind Waker, I think this is the way to go for sure, based on what they're saying.
Yeah. With the
Uh,
gameplay improvements, definitely. They're revamping the fetch quest at the end. The boat goes
Apparently,
faster. But my thing is, I don't really want a Wii U, and Wind Waker
The Wind Waker's not selling one to you.
and Wind Waker looks fine on GameCube. I think it looks really good on GameCube. So I'll keep
you don't-
playing that.
Wind Waker is the one game you can go back to on GameCube and play and never think once, wow, I wish there was an HD remake of this. 'Cause
Yeah,
even when you're playing it on GameCube, you're like, wow, this looks amazing.
it's cell shaded, which when you take time to like put like like a unique art style into a game, it ages well. It'll always look good.
Yeah, that's true.
So when they decided, hey, we're doing an HD remake of the Wind Waker, I was kind of like, well, that's the last thing I wanted. Granted, it's my favorite game of all time, but like, I'd rather see so many other Nintendo games.
And I feel like
Full
that's
HD.
the theme. I feel like that's the theme here. Like we're being so down on Nintendo, and it wasn't a bad show, but like it's so phoned in. I guess you know, like the Wii U's in dire straits right now, and they need something big and creative and new to really like be a killer app for the Wii U. And they didn't show anything like that. They just showed we're doing what Nintendo does again. And for every one of these things, I feel like, wow, I'd rather you'd put a lot more work into something brand new, because I know they can. But yeah. So like, I know we're sounding down, and I don't mean to say these games will be bad, because I'm sure every single one of them will be great.
Yeah.
But it's not what we need.
Not what I want.
It's not what you need. Did you see what I did there?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Bayonetta got a haircut. They showed Smash Brothers, the new Super Smash Brothers, which
Big.
it's another sequel. It's another new version of a game. This is a game that's dear to a lot of people's hearts, including mine. So I'm going to go against what I was just saying and say, wow, I'm so excited for this.
It's big in college. Everyone plays it.
Yeah.
I will say right now, though, if you prefer the original Super Smash Brothers to any of the other ones, you're a fucking idiot.
Okay. They revealed.
I'm just being real. Like I'm like shitting on a lot of things people like, but I don't care.
You're being reckless.
Yeah,
Right now.
we're losing people who listen to this. Like right when I said like Kingdom Hearts sucks dick, you know how many people shut this off?
One,
Yeah. You know how many
Alright.
people are still listening? 2.
three.
Okay.
The new Smash Brothers looks pretty rad.
Yeah, looks.
The-
I like the art.
The art style looks like super cool, and I get what Smash Brothers Brawl was doing, trying to look like almost like look better than it does, which is a weird thing to say, but they try to make it look kind of high res with like super textured stuff and try to make it look super detailed, and like Bowser had super visible scales and Mario's jeans were real denim looking, and it didn't feel super Nintendo to me, and this does. This is like almost cell shaded looking, cartoony, super bright colors, cool looking. And they've introduced a couple new characters who I think are pretty cool.
Yeah.
The first one was the Animal Crossing villager, which is an interesting choice that I don't think a lot of people expected. And a lot of people were saying, well, it's a blank slate of a character, but I think they demonstrated even in the short trailer alone that there's a lot of personality there.
Yeah, it looks fun.
And the other one, the big one, which I actually bet against, but it happened.
Another bomb.
A blue bomb, you might say.
Yeah.
A blue bomber.
Oh,
The Blue Bomber. Mega Man is going to be in the game. I thought it was super rad that like they did like their own design of Mega Man,
yeah.
which is like an updated version of the 8-bit Mega Man that everyone knows and loves. And it looks super awesome. I don't really know what else to say about it. Like they've proven with Kid Icarus that they're super skilled at taking a nothing sprite of a character and making a whole new look for it.
Hmm.
Mega Man's another example of how they've done it again. His fighting style looks super unique for Smash. Like one of his Smash attacks is completely a ranged attack, and that kind of thing. This is some Smash crap, but I'm excited. He looks really unique for Smash. Then finally, and perhaps most importantly, the Wii Fit Trainer.
Fantastic.
When they first announced this, and especially the way they announced it by making the press wait through 45 minutes of talking before they showed it, it was kind of just like, what the fuck? And why? And when I asked myself why, I realized that was the wrong question, because I remembered a moment when I was very young playing Super Smash Bros. Melee, and I unlocked a character called Mr. Game & Watch.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck is it? Well, I didn't say that. I was very young. I said, what is this? And you know what? I ended up loving it. Like, it's basically nothing of the character, but they gave it a lot of personality, and it was cool. So
And going off the trailer they did show, looks fun to play.
well, hang on. The right question is not why, because they've demonstrated that they can do that before. But it just feels like the way they announced it was like designed to make you upset. Like I was saying earlier, like Mega Man got from an 8-bit sprite to this brand new design that looks like brand new and awesome, and then like also there's this placeholder model from a workout game that we're not doing anything to, but hey, it's a character in this game. Like, really, that's what you're doing after this?
I guess that.
Like, where's the effort in that? And the other thing is, like, I like uncovering Mr. Game & Watch as a weird secret in the game. Like, that wasn't something they bragged about when they were marketing that game. That was like a weird little addition that was cool to discover. I feel like announcing something as weird as this as something like to get excited about.
Yeah, it shouldn't have been one of like the 3 big reveals.
When literally everybody's like, I hope X character is in the game. Nobody likes Wii Fit Girl and nobody wanted Wii Fit Girl. So why like brag about it? People, if you just had it in the game and people discovered it when they got the game, they'd be like, wow, that's weird and cool. But the way they announced it here is like, hey, instead of your favorite character, we have this. Isn't that great? No. That's my perspective.
All right.
And I'm sure
after I saw the trailer, I was like, all right.
The trailer's funny and it's cool and it's weird and you know what? I'm sure it'll be a great addition to the game. I don't understand why they did it, why they announced it this way. That's all.
Yeah.
And that really covers it for Nintendo. The Wii U's gonna have a pretty barren year this year, I would say. They have Pikmin 3, Wind Waker, and the Wonderful 101 for the summer and those months, and then for the winter they have what even? They have Mario Kart and Mario 3D World, I guess. So
Get
I guess
excited.
It's better than nothing, but there's still no third party support.
I don't think there's a reason to own a Wii U right now.
A lot of what they promised when they were making this thing just hasn't been delivered by it. So I don't know. Like I'll never say it's a bad piece of hardware because it's cool, and I don't know. It feels like they can't utilize it correctly.
It's a shame.
So that's that. That's E3. That's all of E3. You've just heard all of it
from the show floor, live with Jeff Keighley.
I'm sorry, Jeff. He's being a little shy right now. He doesn't want to come on the show.
Well, he's not used to the limelight like we are.
Yeah, that's true. I just saw Shigeru Miyamoto pass by. Gave him a little wave.
Yeah. Well, he waved to me. I didn't wave to him. He bowed to me actually.
I did a little like a little cat.
Cat Mario.
Because like Cat Mario. You're right. All right, we should shut the fuck up and Okay, let's lay down the law.
All right,
We're,
school's out.
we're gonna
Report
yes,
cards just got sent home.
school's out. We're sending home the report cards, and here's how you did. Do you want to go first?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Like, all right, we're gonna start with Konami. I'll give
Okay.
my grade. You give yours.
Okay.
All right, Konami. I'm gonna give you the D.
I'm gonna give you the D too, and I don't really think anything. Well, I think Metal Gear Solid 5.
Was cool. They didn't really show
They
much.
didn't really show much of it, right? Like I think Metal Gear Solid 5 and Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2 are going to be awesome games, but they didn't show them in ways that make me say, "Wow, that's going to be awesome." Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's what I see too.
Good games, not a good show.
Yeah, it wasn't really much of a show, and half of it was stuff I didn't care about,
Right.
or
Right.
much people did.
Yeah,
So
mobile games, whatever.
it's not on the scale of the other things, but it's on the card.
Yeah, okay. Next.
It's like an elective. Microsoft, and I gave it a C plus. I did like that all they did show was games, but a lot of what they showed didn't really interest me. Um, so that was basically my take on it, and I'm also going to factor in the fact that they didn't say shit about the heinous DRM and explain any of it, so that's why I'm going to give them a C plus.
I'm going to give Microsoft a B minus, and here's why. I think that was one of the best E3, just in general, one of the best E3 press conferences I've seen in a long time, just in terms of breadth of content, in terms of quality of content, and in terms of, just like general showmanship. It was good. There's issues. Like, people will say that the price is a bad point, and yeah. And people will say that the decision not to address DRM is a bad point, and yeah. But as a show, I can't fault it for doing what it did. It was successful in everything that it wanted to do, and their price is their price. They have to stick with it. So that's a B minus.
All right. Ubisoft, I gave a C minus. They showed a lot. Well, I would say they showed a wide range of games, different genres. But again, a lot of what we'd seen before. Some was interesting, some was not. So I gave them a C minus.
Yeah, I'll give Ubisoft a flat C. It was a good show. I thought what they showed was cool for the most part. There was some stuff they showed last year. It's still cool stuff, and for the most part, everything they showed is something that I would consider purchasing, which is more than I can say maybe about anything else.
Yeah.
So, good job.
Electronic Arts, I'm gonna give them a D minus. I didn't really like the show at all, and the only two things I cared about were Peggle 2 and Mirror's Edge 2. So, Mirror's Edge 2, that's big. That's going to save him from getting the F. But yeah, I'm going to be a little harsh here. So I'm going to give him a D minus.
I feel weird giving EA a grade because I feel like a lot of that show just wasn't for me. Like, I can't say that Battlefield 4 was a bad demo because it wasn't, but I probably won't get that game, and I don't really care that much. And, like, I can't say the next Madden and FIFA will be bad games. I'm just not that interested. They didn't make me care, though.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it was a failure. So I'm not going to say it was a bad show, because if you like those things, it was a great show. For me personally, and this is like my personal perspective on this, it was like a D. Because I didn't like you said, there was like two things I cared about, and that's like 5 minutes of the hour. So that's my personal grade. I think that they did better than I'm giving them credit for, but they also didn't make me care about things that I was already kind of iffy on. So,
right. Next up, Sony. I'm gonna give them a B plus. Lots of games. The whole ending part with the price, the big FU to Microsoft, fantastic. Although the first 30 minutes or so of the conference was a total drag, that's gonna stop them from getting the A. But they still rocked it. B plus.
I'm gonna give Sony the A because I thought they wouldn't do it, and they did it. And these press conferences are they're shows for us and they're shows for the press, but it's a PR event, and it's all about getting out the right message and communicating the right message effectively. And I don't think I've ever seen a press conference in which which everyone got the right idea, and everyone thought the right idea was the right idea. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I feel it.
Like in terms of like effectiveness as a piece of public relations, it was astounding. The reaction was unanimous, and the internet was lit ablaze. And the show had flaws, but at the end of the day, what it needed to do, it executed perfectly. It was like, in spite of those flaws, in the end, those flaws didn't even matter, and nobody remembered them because the important parts were so well done. So that's an A.
Lastly, we have Nintendo. Um, Most of this time, I just while I was sitting there watching this really early in the hey, maybe this could be factored in because it was real early in the morning. I was kind of pissed off, but it was just kind of resounding uh until about Smash Brothers was pretty cool. But I'm gonna give them the C, flat C. Um, Kind of disappointed.
Yeah, I feel bad giving Nintendo something like a D because, like I said, all his games are gonna be great. You know, like, and they showed well. Like, I'll give them like a C minus. Like they do what they do, and what they do is good enough. You pass the class, but I wish you had tried to get the A.
It's a shame.
And then that does it for the report card, right?
Yeah. Let's hope Mom doesn't see that.
You know what? It's weird. I feel weird. It was a really good E3 this year, and I was
Yeah.
impressed by a lot of stuff. Like if I was giving a report card last year, there'd
Oh
be
my
like
God.
unanimously D's. So this is an improvement, Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, hey, let's put last year's report card. Hey, we barely made it past sophomore year. We scratched. It was rough.
but yeah,
Showed improvement here.
improvement. So uh,
You're
that
still
does it.
getting your Xbox taken away, only for a month.
We'll just unplug the Ethernet cable.
Yeah. So hey, you
Zing,
can't use it. Actually, I
zing.
don't think there's an Ethernet port.
What?
There probably is.
Is it like a Wi-Fi thing then?
That was a Wii U joke.
Oh, good one. That's E3. I'm excited for E3 next year, and we'll
Yeah.
probably do another big show. This is a long ass show, and if you stuck around this long, hey,
Thank.
thank you. There's no time for anything else this week at all, so
Well, actually,
mm,
I watched some anime, and if you want to talk about that.
we're done. So next week we'll be back. I think we'll do a more traditional episode. We'll talk about some games if there's games to talk about. I'm sure there'll be some follow up news to E3, and we'll talk about some anime if there's time.
It'll
And
be shorter.
you know what? We'll make time just for you. We'll make time. So I think that does it for this week. Uh, I'm your host, HunterJawa, signing off.
I'm Vanillifish, aka Game Trailer and Spike TV's Robbie Fisher, signing off. Good night.
Bye.